Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I just want to take some time today to talk about my year 2023 in review and kind of look ahead to what's going on in 2024. So this has actually been a really big year for me in terms of gaming, and I am really excited about that. So I started designing Night Witches with David Thompson in July of 2022. But April of 2023 is when we signed that game with Fort Circle. So 2023 is a special year to me always now, because it's the year when I signed my first game design. What's also cool, though, is that 2023 is the year when I picked up several more game designs. So I feel like this is a watershed year for me in terms of how I interact with board games and how I think about them, because I feel like this is the year that I really started to turn into a game designer. And so stuff of mine isn't on the market yet, but the way that I spend my gaming time is already very different, and I expect it to look really different in the next few years, even more than that. So, working on Oath expansion stuff with Ricky Royal, I've mentioned in other videos on the channel. Working on my own game, which is like a little solo card-driven game about being Agrippina the Younger, who's Nero's mother, trying to survive the first 5 years of his reign. He tried to murder her with a collapsible boat, and then it didn't work, and so he had her stabbed to death. So trust me, there's some drama in all those proceedings. And I'm also working on a game called Foxes and Lions, which is basically a Renaissance Italy coin game where my friend Paul Wright and I are trying to simulate the Italian wars and the making and breaking of alliances and just sort of the craziness of that time period in board game form. So those are the projects I have going right now. I do have ideas for other projects, and there's things that I'm researching. So I think that it's like triples. Like once you design one game, do you just like get into more? Is that what happens? I feel like that's what's happening. So 2023 has been a really emotionally and personally important year for me, just because of the change in my kind of agenda, my program, like what I spend my time on, what's important to me. It'll be really interesting to see how that plays out on my channel, on my podcast, in my life over the next few years. So, this has been a big year for me. I hope 2024 is even bigger. I've got some possible exciting developments coming up that I can't talk about. But no matter what, I think 2024 is going to be a really good year. 2023 is also the year when I went to more conventions than ever before, and I went to two for the first time that are really important. So one I've already talked about a lot, which is Circle DC in April. I will be going again this upcoming April because it was great. It was amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. And then I finally made it to a convention that I wanted to go to for a couple years now, and it just never happened. Like the first time I talked to Harold about it was in 2019, so like before the pandemic. I've been trying to make it to San Diego for years, so I finally went to SD and that was in November, and it was phenomenal as an experience. San Diego is a beautiful city. Harold puts together a beautiful convention, and all the people there were just wonderful. I really, really enjoyed getting to spend time with people from GMT, I finally met Meeple Lady. We had a really good time. She had a great trick-taking game that we all played. I got to see old friends make new friends. I got to demo Night Witches for Matthias Kramer, which that was a big one for me. I just really loved that convention. It was basically a small enough convention where you could fit all the action in like one large gaming hall and like a seminar room off to the side. But there was so much going on. It was such a wonderful experience that I really need to get it on my agenda again for next year. So there were some very, very good seminars, including one on writing about board games that included Dan Thoreau and Candice Harris and Grant and Alex from the Players Aid. So that was a really interesting panel. I got to see, unfortunately I didn't get to play, but I got to see some really cool stuff like Alex Knight's upcoming game Hammer and Sickle. Basically, what was really cool about SD is that, there were like new games that were on display, but what I was really excited about this time, and I think that's probably because I'm in the process of becoming a game designer myself, is that there were lots of really interesting prototypes there. So I was able to see stuff that's coming up that I now know for sure that I should be really excited about. Dan Bullock's Blood and Treasure was there, and of course, Night Witches was there, so I demoed a lot of that, and that was what I spent probably most of my time doing. But I also got to slip off and do some other really cool stuff. I really enjoyed also doing an Ancients panel And I got to share that panel with Professor Monty Johnson, who is an expert in Aristotelian philosophy, who talked about how he talks about philosophy in his classroom. It was really cool. We also had the designer of Epipoli, Jason Walanowski, who has made a levy and campaign game that is about the siege of Syracuse and the Athenian expedition to Sicily. So it was really, really cool to talk to them. It was great to meet some people who are into gaming about ancient Greece, because I spend most of my time talking about Rome. Basically, that entire convention was great. So I now have 3 conventions on my schedule. It used to just only be PAX Unplugged and maybe something else, but my convention needs have expanded. I'm very worried about this, but, and the trips are expensive, but it's really important. So now my holy trinity of conventions in the year has become Circle DC. I love Circle DC. SD HisCon. I loved SD HisCon. Wow, like these really small historical and wargaming conventions are great. And then I also must always make it to PAX Unplugged, because I've been there several times and it's just been a really good experience consistently. So 2023 was also like a big year of conventions for me, and it kind of changed the number of conventions I feel like I should be going to. So that is concerning financially, but I'm also really glad, because it's a great way to connect with other people in the hobby. And at smaller conventions like SD HisCon or Circle DC, you are able to connect with designers that you normally can't get some good one-on-one time with, because those conventions are so small. So I highly recommend them. If you want to go actually get FaceTime and real game time with people, I think that those smaller historical game conventions are really where it's at. Another big deal in general for me is that Zenobia 2 is underway. And so Zenobia contestants, the day I'm filming this is New Year's Eve when I'm filming this video, the contestants have all, hopefully by now, submitted their proposals, their concept proposals for their games. I'm really looking forward to reading those. The people in my mentor pod have been making really, really interesting proposals of games that I want to see in the world. It feels so good to be part of that process and to see designers coming up with very cool ideas that should be out there in the world, and do, a small part along the way to help those designs get there. I really didn't feel like I had as much to contribute during Zenobia 1, because I didn't consider myself a game designer at that time. I had not begun to design games. I still feel like I have only a little to contribute, but I am really grateful to be part of the process, and I really am excited by some of the stuff that I'm seeing in the competition right now. So I think that wonderful things are going to come out of Zenobia 2. And, as we close out 2023, I'm in a place of hope for what we'll see out of that 2024. And then there's just Beyond Solitaire. This is the most active year the channel has ever had. I checked, and I have done 120 videos, not including live streams, which I've done a few actually this year. That's something I used to shy away from, and I've kind of gotten into it a little bit. I did 40 podcast episodes, so we're up through episode 140 now as the year closes out, and we are about to start season 8 at the end of January, hopefully. I started to do more videos about video games and books. I tried to have a separate booktube channel for a while, a couple years ago, but I really just only have the attention span to work on one channel, so you're just going to start to occasionally see stuff about books I'm reading on Beyond Solitaire, but that's gone really well so far. I've been really happy with that. I've enjoyed my expansion to video game reviews. I, don't just want to review every video game under the sun, but I played some really fantastic stuff this year. Most notably Pentiment, which I absolutely am a fangirl for. Sorry. But getting to add video games to my roster has helped me find new ways to talk about how game mechanisms work, and how games can make you feel, and how games can present history. And that's something that I've really appreciated. And so I hope to continue doing that in 2024. So 2023 has also been the most, productive year on Beyond Solitaire to date. For that, I want to thank actually my Patreon supporters, because y'all who are out there interacting with me on Discord, playing games with me on BGA, posting pictures of games you're playing, or asking me if I've played something that you think is really exciting. Having that contact with y'all actually, in addition to the support you give me, which I need for upgrades, I'm about to go buy an external hard drive today because of y'all. Thank you. I just really appreciate getting to be in touch with y'all all the time. And so if you're supporting my channel, truly a heartfelt thank you. I feel more motivated to do stuff because I want to do it for you. And I really am glad you're there. I appreciate y'all more than you know. And then the other development I've had this year is that I've started to do more rules editing and like writing projects for games. And that's something that's also bringing me a lot of joy. Like, I think that I'm in a space where I'm not necessarily fully transitioning, but I'm becoming more interested in helping to make games exist than I am in just reviewing them. And I don't know what consequences that's going to have for my channel in the long run. But I do know that I can't review chip theory games anymore. Like, I can do playthroughs and I will, because I actually do like chip theory. But I am now also editing their Elder Scrolls written materials. And so that's been really cool. I did some editing for Catastrophe games early this year. I've been doing some stuff for Central Michigan's games that come out. And I actually signed on to write a curriculum guide for one of their upcoming games in the next year. So that'll be a really interesting expansion to the kind of work that I do in the world of games. So I've been really excited about it all. And it also kind of, I think, represents change. You know, one thing that I can say, though, is that I'm super happy to be working with Chip Theory again. 2023 was also the year when I finished doing all the Gearlock guides. So I finished those early in 2023. And, you know, I'm glad that by the end of 2023, I'm doing another Chip Theory project, just because... So there are projects that you work on where when you finish the work, you're no longer excited about the project and you don't want to see it again ever. And then there are projects where you work on them and then you love the thing more and you feel more excited about it. And so that is consistently a feeling I've been having with Chip Theory. So I still love Too Many Bones. I think it's a fantastic game. I'm still excited to play it. I actually am itching to get to the table with it again right now, because even though I did all that work with it and I spent hours and hours and hours, like, I still have an appetite for more, which I think is a good thing. With Elder Scrolls, I feel it's like I know this game in theory and not in practice. Because I've been reading so much about the game. And so I know that when I get a copy, I'm going to feel like everything is so familiar and yet new at the same time. And I'm really excited about that. But I can say with absolute confidence that the more editing I do for Elder Scrolls, the more excited I am about the game. It is definitely my most anticipated game next year. And the fact that I spend hours arguing with people about terminology and capitalization has not changed that. If anything, fire's burning hotter. Like, I just really am so excited to see this game in the world, and I feel really proud that I was entrusted with any contribution to that whatsoever. So yeah, it's actually that 2023 has been a cool year for me in that regard as well. So for me, 2023 has been a really, really good year in terms of gaming. And, you know, it's funny, I don't always feel good day to day, but I'll look over the course of a year and think, man, a lot of stuff happened, and a lot of it was really wonderful. And I think that 2023 was one of those years where I didn't realize it, but now that I look back, this is going to have been a major year in my life. I became a game designer in my own right, I think, this year. I became somebody who feels much more comfortable working with and editing games. You know, I ran my first playtest group for Night Witches this year. That was awesome. I'm learning a lot about how to write and edit rule books, which is really awesome. Like, I've just learned so much more about how the sausage is made, as it were, and I'm really glad for that. And then in addition, you know, I've increased my engagement in person with other people in the hobby by wanting to go to more conventions. And Beyond Solitaire has also started to I've just been doing more stuff for it. And I really am glad for that. I don't know how this is going to work in terms of, like, I don't know how much more I can do while also working a full-time job, especially one that is teaching, but I've been really, really proud to see my channel grow, and I've been really, really proud to be able to offer more with it and to offer, I guess, more of myself to gaming and to the hobby this year than ever before. And I hope that 2024 continues that trend for me, because I find gaming and interacting with other gamers to be a really meaningful activity. It's one of the great joys of my life that I get to do all of this stuff with all of y'all. And one more shout out before I close out this video. I do think that gaming becomes more rich the more people you connect with. So I also want to say I really appreciate people who I became closer friends with this year just by doing game stuff. You know, my friend Paul and I have become better friends by starting to design a game together, and I've really found that to be wonderful. And online, I feel like I have made some good friendships with other channels, so there are a bunch of people I talk to more this year than ever before. But I want to shout out Mike from Zilla Blitz. We've kind of started to hang out more and talk more, and I think we're going to be doing some collaborations in 2024 that I'm really excited about. And I especially want to shout out Fred Serval and everybody in the Homo Ludens Discord, because y'all are my favorite online watering hole. I love all of you, and it is really a delight to be able to pop online and see what y'all have been up to throughout the day and to check in. I'm feeling more connected at the end of this year than I have in years past as well. And I think that that is part of why I've been getting so much satisfaction out of the world of board gaming. So I hope that all of you had a good 2023. I hope that 2024 is better for us than any year yet. And I hope that we get in a lot of gaming. So thank you so much, everybody. Please like, subscribe, comment, ask questions, and most of all, happy gaming.